Hello and welcome to PPC Live, the podcast, formerly known as the PPC Chat Roundup. My name is Anu, the founder of PPC Live, and if you're used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure that we're keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. But instead of relaying what the PPC experts are saying, I'm going to be bringing the PPC experts to you. Every week, I'm going to be speaking to a different PPC expert about their biggest F-up, also how they have turned things around. We'll share what has been disappointing, what has been surprising, people who have been supportive along the way, and what are our biggest takeaways from these kinds of mistakes. This week, I had the immense delight of chatting to Greg Finn of Cypress North. He's a co-founder of Cypress North. And we chat a lot, Greg and I. Every day we do a show called It's New with Barry Schwartz and Mordy Oberstein, and bringing the latest of the news. But instead of it being a 10-minute chat where each of us talk for 2 or 3 minutes, Greg and I chatted for like close to 40 minutes. It was hard to get him to rein things in, but I didn't want him to because he shared so many interesting insights about the mistake that he's experienced, he's overseen. He gave us several stories, a few stories of that, the importance of instilling open communication so that people are confident to speak to you about the mistake they've made. And of course, we also cover a little bit about AI and the mistakes that people are making in that area as well. So I hope you enjoy. Let's take it away to Greg. Hello, everyone. I am so delighted. You have no idea how excited I am. I can't contain myself.
I'm more excited.
Oh my God. Like Greg. Hello, Greg. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast. You guys don't know how excited I am because Greg has been someone that we've been like friends and PPC sparring partners, I'd call it, for years now. I don't know what the thumbs up was there, whatever. These emojis, they just do whatever. And Greg and I have known each other for years now, since when? Pre-COVID years even. Like we're talking...
Oh, 100%. Yeah, probably like 2016, 17, something like that.
Yeah,
I'd assume.
Yeah, that's...
I can look it up if you want.
You're good at that. You're good at the research kind of thing, always getting the details. Like back on Twitter, when Twitter was a thing and it wasn't a dumpster flyer of like nonsense. Yeah, and since then we're going to meet in person next week at SMX Advanced, which is going to be exciting. So for those who haven't got your tickets, if you're listening to this before the 11th of June, you still have a chance to come to SMX Advanced. But anyway, without further ado, look, Greg is one of the co-founders of Cypress North. And I say co-founders. You're not going to see it as a title on any of his profiles. But yes, Greg started with Matthew Mombrea. Am I saying that correctly? You and Matthew?
Yeah, Matt Mombrea.
Amazing.
Yep.
And done amazing stuff there. And you not just started the company with them, also created a different branch as well, with, you said, 30 staff members in like that separate branch that you've got there. And it's not just paid search that Greg is like really good on. It's also social media marketing, content marketing, organic SEO, all the SEO stuff.
To be fair, I'm only good at Google Ads. We have other people who are very good at other things, so I need to give them credit.
Amazing. That's good. And he also co-hosts my second favorite marketing podcast, Marketing O'Clock, which I just find absolutely hilarious because all the rants and it's all the go at Google hard. And I love it. No one does it like you guys, and just literally going, what are you guys doing? And also advertisers, when advertisers start talk nonsense about a new update and start panicking. There's so much panic that people do in our industry. So I love the Greg rage that comes through on the podcast. And you would have seen, probably a lot of you listeners would have seen Greg at several conferences like SMX, eSummit, PopCon, and several others. Is anything there I've missed, Greg?
No, I mean, this is the best introduction I've ever had. And quite frankly, it's gone on too far, too long. It's too much.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
There's a little bit more that we've got to actually mention. I don't think you would have realized I even saw this. Gregisms. There's some Gregisms on the Cypress North site, which are all conversations are not created equal. Do you remember saying that?
Conversions, yeah.
Yeah. No, all conversions. Sorry. It's written there. I read it wrong. Build on your own real estate. I love that. The average position... Sorry, what's my screen doing?
I don't even know what these are.
The Gregisms, don't you know the Gregisms on the
Yeah,
side?
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. All conversions are not created equal. The average position doesn't lie, like Shakira says. Like,
see, the thing is, like, we do training, we do a lot of training at our
yeah.
company, and I just like spout off and try to make it fun
Nice.
because I feel like you don't really learn as much unless it's fun. So
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that doesn't lie like Shakira, but that sounds like something I could have said.
Of course. The one I actually would love to talk about, all conversions are not created equal. So what do you mean by that? Can you dig deep into that one? What do you mean by all conversions not created equal?
I think it's one of the things that a lot of people get wrong, honestly, is when folks come to us, they have a website for a reason, and it's not just to do something. It's to get an outcome that they're looking for. So, when we are auditing accounts and when we're looking at everything that's going on, a lot of people are focusing on things that might not necessarily matter to the business, but it's listed as a conversion. And when you are giving these platforms these signals, it's like you want to give them the right ones, right?
Yeah.
So are you looking for just leads? Probably not. You're probably looking for customer, And so like, how do you figure out, can we sync our CRM system up to Google Ads so that we're not just driving leads, we're not just setting up a newsletter or something like that, sign up, but really getting them to do the thing that we want them to do.
Yeah.
So like, obviously like a sales qualified lead is vastly more important than just a lead that came from a PMax app, placement. So I think that's one thing that honestly is the number one thing that people get wrong within advertising is they're optimizing towards things that aren't necessarily moving the needle on business.
Yeah.
They're just hitting numbers and metrics, but not impacting business. I'd rather have one sales qualified lead than 100 junk leads from a display campaign.
Absolutely. It's all about the qualified leads. And Shep, your lovely co-host, I saw this great talk that she did at SMX London where the talk was about trying to optimize towards leads. And she clarified it's about trying to optimize towards qualified leads, quality leads. It's not just any lead will do, because that's when, the guys at the customer service are getting so frustrated because they're like, all of these leads are nonsense. Why are we not closing them? Why is the lead to converting to a customer very bad? Because you're not optimizing towards a proper lead. Would you say?
Yeah. And if you are one of those people that you were speaking to earlier about being at SMX, she's doing another presentation, I would say arguably better, and you should check it out because it would talk about that quite a bit in her presentation as well in SMX Advanced in June.
Amazing. All right, let's get to the meat of this episode. We are here to talk about F-ups that we've experienced and the triumphs and the learnings and how we've turned it around and turned those mistakes into winning clients. Take it away. What F-up do you want to share with us today?
So this is kind of sad. I don't have crazy ones, but I'll go with one when I first got into the industry that I experienced. It was for a Halloween costume company. And this was like back in the day. I don't even think AdWords was launched yet, but it was using Microsoft Overture, which is now Microsoft Advertising.
Right. Wow.
And so, yeah, so it was crazy. But I came in as like a basically digital marketing support because we didn't have enough people at the time. And one of the managers for this Halloween costume company had spent the monthly budget as the daily budget.
Oh my God.
And so instead of like $30,000 in a month, they spent like $300,000. I was not high enough like up in the ranks to know exactly what happened with that, but I believe there's a whole lot of credit going out. I believe they had talked to Microsoft at the time and gotten some credits back.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole lot of like future credit, like work that had to be done. But that one like wasn't me. I was like so new. It was probably 2006 or so. But that was probably the biggest one. So I just wanted to put that out there that some people have messed around and put like the monthly budget as like a daily budget. And there's really like no coming back from that.
Yeah.
And it's also like when you do that, you are not paying attention to what's happening in the accounts. Like you're just, and no offense to the person very nice man who was doing this at the time. But like,
Okay.
you're just not paying attention,
Yeah.
you know? Like I jumped in here. I'm like, well, this is like way more than we're supposed to.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. So
Oh, God.
it was a whole lot of like future credit that had to be paid back. And I think they got like 50% of the spend like erased for some reason.
Oh, wow.
But the biggest mess up that I've had I'm calling it me because it's associated with me. We had a manager who was basically doing the Google to Microsoft export and import. And when you do that, it can be a little bit tricky. And one of the uploads ended up getting into a different account.
Oh.
So it was putting in like landing pages and like final URLs, all that stuff. And somehow it made it into like the wrong stuff, made it into another advertiser's account. And it was probably on for like maybe 2 or 3 days, I would say, until it started like spending and we caught it. But that was a big deal because, you know, you are taking a client that you have and it is sending to a completely different company and URL and everything like that because the export just didn't go into that account. And that's what it used to be hard back in the day. So this is probably like 6 years ago, I'd say. And so, yeah, so we were trying to import into one account and somehow it made it into a different account and started spending on the advertiser's behalf on that account.
Oh, Lord. But it was the same advertiser in both accounts, or was it like, but just wrong account?
Different. Yep.
So it was a different advertiser's budget that was being spent for another account. But
yeah, so we're uploading into Microsoft, and let's say it's company A, which is a sneaker company.
Yeah.
And somehow, you know, company B, a manager had put it in, and let's say it's a concrete company.
Yeah.
The concrete ads were showing in the sneaker ads.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
For the different URL.
Okay, yeah. So let's tease out that story. Who found the mistake?
The manager did, who uploaded it.
Okay.
At the time.
So he caught it straight away.
He caught it, yep.
Okay. And what did he do?
He was panicked. He came to me and he said, I made a mistake. This happened. And here's where it is. Everything's turned off. Everything's paused. Yeah. And it's totally my fault, which is my fault because that's you have to like own everything, you know?
Yeah.
And he just came to me and he let me know and was pretty worried.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, no, of course. Because what in these episodes that I really like to do for our listeners is, because some of them might have gone through this, some of them may go through this because life happens and stress happens, and then that can feed into work and you make a mess up. And the whole do's and don'ts of what to do and what not to do. So in this kind of situation, it sounded like the manager who's found it did the right thing. Is there anything you remember that you're like, he did, well, apart from the mistake itself, but out in the process that you were like, you wouldn't have suggested, you wouldn't have advised that he approach it that way?
No, I mean, I think he did everything you should do.
Okay.
You're right. Like, we're humans, we make mistakes, and it was a mistake. So, you know, he turned everything off immediately, went through, got all the data as to how much was spent. It wasn't, you know, absurd or anything like that. And brought everything to me and said, this is what happened. This is what I did. And it's off, but I want you to know that. So, I mean, it was a 10 out of 10 response, in my opinion.
Fantastic. That sounds great. Now, then going back to, let's say, the few hours before he started this, what would you say was like, because something was missed in terms of the process of him doing the task that led to that mistake. What would you say is the key thing that people should look out for to avoid making mistakes like this?
Yeah, and I just want to make sure everybody understands mistakes happen. Yeah. Like, that happens, and that is like totally fine. You know, like, my biggest thing is if somebody's intent is good and they're trying to do the right thing, like, everything else is secondary. You know, the primary thing is your intent. Are you trying? Did you set up an experiment? Did you set up a campaign that you think might actually help the client?
Yeah.
And did it not work? That's fine. The intent is great.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I'm an intent person. And I'm also like, what's the tangible takeaway or like key learning moment from it?
Yeah.
So we changed our Microsoft upload process.
Mhm.
We built new elements to take from Google and upload to Microsoft from there, right? Like that. I think that's another thing. When you make mistakes, and this is like, I have 2 10-year-old kids. I'm like, you guys, you need to make mistakes in life. It's fine. I'm like a soccer coach. It's like, you need to make mistakes. It's part of it. But like, what is key learning you take away from it? So we changed our Microsoft upload policy,
Right.
and we made a new like spreadsheet, and we have like a new check boxes and things like that people need to do. I mean, you could look at it as like it's earth shattering, but the person wasn't trying to do anything like with ill intent or anything
Yeah.
like that. So
No, absolutely. And that's why the name of this podcast is the PPC Live, the podcast, the F-ups that turned into triumphs, because that is what it's all about. Mistakes can be rectified. Mistakes, you learn from it. I think a previous episode, someone said something very important, that in fact, if you're like a seasoned digital marketer and you say that you've never made a mistake, you've probably actually not pushed the boundaries hard enough. You've not tested actually enough. You might not actually have done enough, because the testings and the things going wrong is where you get your biggest learnings, is where you then realize what processes need to be in place. Because
yeah, and everybody makes mistakes. If you say you don't make mistakes, you're just a liar. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I make mistakes every day. Like,
not
in
every day,
accounts
yeah.
anymore. But like, no, I'm like, oh, I forgot a birthday party. It was this. So, you know, like, people make mistakes. It's part of life.
No, absolutely. No, I hope that we don't even really need to reiterate that, because that's why we're talking about it. That's why we hope that more people talk about it, so that you help others learn into what to put into place. But yeah, so I know you said several of these already. What's one big takeaway from this story that you want people to take before we move on to another story? What's your biggest point to take away?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in like the agency realm,
Mm.
everybody's trying to be like perfect on things, and just because you like, so for that example that
Yeah.
I was talking about, that manager went through, got every single cent that was spent, and it wasn't crazy. It might have been like I don't know, like $8,000 or something,
Right.
because it was only on for a few days. And so what we did immediately is get every single element, made it into a spreadsheet, showed exactly what was happening, screenshots of like the account and everything,
Mm.
and said, hey, we're paying you back 8,000 to the cent.
Wow.
And saying, and owning it, right? It's like, so in that case, yeah, it's a mistake, but we're getting out ahead of it and saying, this happened. Here's the refund back. We apologize. This was a mistake. There's nothing else. Everything else is still running fantastically, but we want to be transparent with it. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people just like shove under the rug. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, this happened. We're just going to hide it. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
And in this case, like, okay, here's every cent you have back. We're alerting you to this before you would ever even know of it. And you already have the money like back,
Yeah.
which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and yeah, I feel like so many people try to like just hide things, and it's not the right way to live. In my opinion, is like, I mess up a lot, and I tell people that, and again, not in ads, but just in general life.
In life, we do.
And it's like, you know, like, I feel like not hiding things is a big deal, because everybody's made mistakes. You might have like a keyword in there, or you might have optimized targeting turned on in a remarketing campaign. It's not really remarketing, which we've seen as well. One time we had a huge spend in optimized targeting, and we looked at it, figured out what was actually remarketing, was optimized targeting,
Yeah.
let people know up front, and then refund them. And that's like a big deal. And a lot of people just, and clients and companies just don't do that, which is, I think, a learning thing, right? Like, how do you gain more trust? How do you build better relationships? And by trying to hide your mistakes, no, you should own your mistakes.
Absolutely. You even answered a question that I was about to ask next, and we can tease out this answer a bit more in terms of whether in our industry you actually see, because you're on the social media and seeing like people talk about their accounts and everything. Do we talk about our failings, our mistakes enough? I'd say yeah.
No, we
No.
don't. Everything that we have, it's like social media. You look at some of these people, everybody's absolutely perfect. Everybody's the best in the absolute world.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever, done anything wrong. I don't know if you want to like amplify that stuff, but I do think it's good to like really like ask questions, talk about things, engage in things, and not. I think it's a big problem where a lot of people think that like the way to win, I guess, is being like some super smart, super slick, like, hey, I'm like a god type thing.
Yeah.
And if you listen to our podcast, that's not the way that we are.
No.
And honestly, like we probably talk more on Marketing Clock about other people and doing really good stuff. Like every now and then we'll talk about ourselves, but it's rare. And that was sort of like our thought process is let's find people who are doing good work. Let's amplify those companies that do good work and that are good agencies that people might want to hire or good marketers, and just like bring them up. I feel like it's a big thing where everybody out there is presenting themselves as, flawless, and nobody is.
No. Is it, do you think, or is there something like management can do to encourage that? Because I do feel like sometimes you work in a company and you from the higher ups, they're only talking about the good that, we're doing, and they're always shouted about, make sure we shout about the good. What could managers do to actually encourage mistakes to be shared? Because clearly that manager that made that mistake felt comfortable and confident enough to come to you and say that, hey, Greg, I've made this error. And that's not something that there's a mistake. I'm sure that's something you've nurtured. So what's your advice to like managers to get their staff to be more confident to talk about where they've messed up so that they can turn it around?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it comes from sort of the top, like
So
I know that people make mistakes, and I tell everybody all the time, like whatever your intent is what matters. It's not anything outside of intent. If you're trying to do something that is negative, like if you're trying something and it doesn't work, that's fine. And it's really hard because for me, it's nice because I don't necessarily care as much about like the bottom line is about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if that manager had done that and hidden it and not shown me, and then the client came, I probably would have fired that manager.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's like the thought process is like, you need to let people know that you're in like a place of growth and learning and all that. And obviously, like, I was like very happy that this person brought it to me because we could just fix it like instantly and be like off, on the way. We had another example, I would say, that's smaller. We made a few changes. We were trying to go after volume. And when you're doing a lot of like B2B, like lead gen stuff, you kind of have to either choose like volume or efficiency. And it's like a teeter totter in a way. And we kind of went a little bit more towards volume because it was a big push towards it instead of efficiency.
Yeah.
And like the client reached out. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I know this is the direction we're going, but we probably went a little bit more towards volume and got it, but it wasn't as efficient as we probably could have. I'm going to refund your money. And like did it for that month. And like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like that makes sense. But it's hard when people are like beholden to like the dollar and, everything like that. So it's nice to be able to be in that position where you can kind of make the call. But I would just say like, for us, our biggest thing is like education, not only for our employees, but for our customers, right? They need to know, like, we can't just be like, oh, there's AI Max. We have to like explain it. Like, this is the keywordless feature. And you look at the results with Broad Match, and Broad Match is working really, really well now that we're optimizing towards SQLs. and we would like to try this for AI Max. What it's
Yeah.
going to do is it's going to operate similar to like a Performance Max, which is also working well. So I think a lot of this is open communication,
Yeah.
I would say, is the biggest thing.
Absolutely. So open communication from leadership to your team, and well, leadership to clients, to everybody. But how about leadership specifically to your employees, to encourage them to talk more? What is the key thing that they think that they should do?
That's a super hard question because it's like some people that get in leadership positions think that they're like, kings and queens out there. And to me, that's not the way that we operate. Our philosophy is we bring a lot of people in that are sort of new and we train them in the way that we want them to.
Okay.
And that's really helped because
Okay.
there's no like kind of like infighting
Good.
between anything. It's like everybody's working in the same direction, the same purpose to do the best possible work that's available. And I feel like if you have that mentality as like a leader, everybody's going to the same destination, which is being the best.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that mindset,
Yeah.
where it's if you can say, hey, we care about the final product. We care about everybody's happiness here. We care about everybody's learning and progression and growth. That works. I also understand we're like a unique company where like literally the only thing I care about is people growing, getting better, sticking around and doing well. But I just think it's like that mentality of really being a team. I loved team sports as a kid. It really helped me out a lot. And I kind of like just look at that within, our day-to-day work. And it's like, yeah, this is my teammate. This isn't somebody I'm competing with. This isn't somebody I'm trying to best. This isn't somebody I'm trying to like knock out of a promotion. It's like, no, they're good. They'll get paid kind of thing.
This really should be the blueprint for how really most agencies should work. This shouldn't sound like rocket science. This shouldn't sound, oh my God, I can't believe we can do it that way. Or we should do it that way and we'll still succeed. Because you guys are succeeding with this mindset, with this culture that you guys have built in the company, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great. We've got one of the strongest teams that we've had in a long time. That one company I alluded to first, I was probably 21. 22 maybe when I was there in like 2005, and we had the best team. We had the best team ever, and we had like Gene and Chris, all these people that were like amazing, and they treated everybody so badly at this company. I'm like, why aren't you keeping like you've got this like Avengers team
Wow.
here, and like they kind of just like let everybody go, and then they were just not being, and I'm like, what if you just like leaned in to these amazing people that it's like, it's not the name, on the sign
door,
outside. It's the people,
Yeah.
and so like I've been sort of obsessed with that and like finding all these like, Shep and Jess and Maggie and all these people and like Julia, we've just got so many amazing people, and it's like, I feel like that's something that, I don't know, it's hard for companies to like look at that, I don't know why.
As you were saying that sentence, even my brain did not see. It was a bit of, those who are going to listen to this episode and look at the video of it, you'll see how my facial expression really switched when you were like, oh, we had these good people and they were treated so badly. And my brain just almost melted. I was like, wait, what? You had really good people and you treat the really good people badly.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Mind-boggling. It's like, and that's one thing to your point, like how do managers like, or how do companies like instill that is it's not just like a revenue generating, like you can't just look at people like that. It's something that we take a ton of pride in. Most of our people start and then like move up the ladder. Like Shop is probably one of the best demand gen, lead gen, B2B people that I know. She was selling like promotional items before and has been with us for like 6+ years. And it is like, you can't stop that person. And it's like, okay, how do you just feed that person and keep them going, and hitting their goals and hitting their needs and all that, instead of like, oh, they have X experience and it's not as much. It's like, no, that's not it. It's way different than what you think it is just looking at a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You can't judge anything like that.
No, no, absolutely. I love that. We could talk about that for ages, but yeah, I'd like making this episode short and sweet so that people are excited for the next one. So
Oh, sorry. You can't make one short and sweet with me. I'm sorry.
I know. It's fine. We'll love it. We'll love it. We'll do little to no editing for this one. But I do want to, let's do a little bit of a tangent too. We're still talking about mistakes and still talking about F-ups that you see and want to get into. We can never over talk about AI. It keeps rolling with all the new updates, especially after GML. And I'd like to hear what F-up you've seen of how clients or maybe a brand or maybe another agency are using AI as the solution. And you're literally going, that is not what AI is for.
I think AI is great. Maybe not for human civilization, let's say, but great for getting things done, obviously. But I also think like at this point in time, you can really tell what AI is. Like you can see a lot of these images that people are making, a lot of these long LinkedIn posts that are out there that are essays that you've never seen people like write before. I skip right past those. I look at some of the images that, again, they're maybe like a 4 out of 10 and they're terrible. I skip past those. And I think when you have a paragraph and every word in the paragraph is bold, that nothing is bold.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an opportunity now. Will AI get better? Yes. ChatGPT's image creation tools is very good. I don't think it's great, but it's very good. And we have a designer on staff. We're hiring another one. We're interviewing and looking for that because AI can help assist on a lot of things, but I feel like people that are just using it to be the end all like product, you're just not going to stand out. So I think that's something where when everybody's like zigging in one direction, how do you dag and really try to make sure that your stuff looks the best?
Absolutely. Do you think anyone is using AI? What's your examples of times you've gone, oh, I know this is AI, but that's been done good?
Yeah, I think when it's not the entire meal, right? If you have an element where it's, okay, I'm going to create Barry Schwartz, his head, something like that. And then I'm going to make this kind of weird thing and then send it to our designer and have it like actually look good. I think that's awesome. I think on the tech side of things, people just see it as being easy. And that's the thing that scares me the most. Like when I make LinkedIn posts, sometimes I misspell one of the first words in there because I want people to know it's not AI. When I write a blog post, there is absolutely zero AI that goes into it. I just write. And I think I try to bring my tone out and everything like that and really represent that. Even with any LinkedIn post, I just don't use AI for that stuff because to me, that's my voice. And it's, okay, what is it going to do? Save me 2 minutes? All right, I'll just type it out. I think it's when it's like an assist is when it works really well. When you're saying, oh, what is this framework that I need to go for? We just hired another content writer too. I can't think of a worse world where all we're doing is reading what computers are typing to each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's a unique time to make sure your brand has a voice, that, you know, you're catering to the customer. And I know like people are like, Duolingo just fired like their whole social team that helped turn them into the most popular app, and everybody's like revolting against it. We can use AI. It's like, oh, that's not how you got here.
Yeah.
You got to the top by having a creative staff, and now you just think you can just run everything through a prompt and still have the same results. It's like, that could happen. That's probably 5 years away, maybe 4 years away.
Yeah, no, amazing. I love that you brought that Duolingo case study because that is a story people are going to look at and to use to in terms of how to do things. And yeah, I think they got that wrong as well. I think I got that really wrong. And I've listened to other podcasts that have mentioned it and gone, how can you say you want to be AI first if that's what your customers want to hear? But you're just saying that you're planning on to go and buy things the cheapest way and that will be cheap for you. And that's not what your customers want to hear. Actually, your customers want to hear that you're putting as much effort into making a good solution for them, not just what's going to be easy for them. So.
Yeah, and it's just to save a few bucks. And honestly, that is what your app is too, Duolingo. Like, you're supposed to have this thing that's better than anything else, and you're just going to be like, oh, we're outsourcing all of our creative to AI and everything that's got us here. Okay, is your app should I replace that by
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
Mandarin over on ChatGPT? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. On that fantastic note, yeah, you've given people a lot to talk about. Greg, we'll get you back on the podcast at some point in the future. If I'm ever stuck for guests, you know you're the person I'm going to call on. So you can expect
Well,
that.
I guarantee I'm going to make some mistakes here soon. So I'll have plenty of content.
Absolutely. We'll get to the 2025 mistakes that we made for next year. Oh, that'll be great. Before you go, I have this fun question I like asking all guests. If your career was a movie, what would be the title?
That's a great question. I probably should have thought ahead of time about this, but I'm just going to go and I'm going to say, I'm going to go Die Hard.
Oh,
I've never even seen the movie, but I feel like that title, I've never seen it.
you have
I've seen
never.
parts of it. I've seen Hans Gruber. I've seen some parts. I've seen him crawling through the thing. I just think like that's a great way to really try to like have that mindset of every single day we get different challenges and different obstacles and things that we've never seen. We'll get new bidding types and all of that stuff. And I think it's just one of those things where you can look at it and see all these changes in a really negative light, but it's also reality.
Yeah.
And if you look at that and say, all right, I've got this challenge, I'm going to go through it and I'm going to make it out to the end. I'm going to figure these things out. Like whether it's ChatGPT ads next year, like I'm actually really excited for that. And I'm not just going to roll over and be like, oh, I'm just good at Google Ads. No, I'm going to be really good at ChatGPT ads and I'm excited and I'm not just going to roll over.
Yeah.
So I'll go Die Hard or maybe Dumb and Dumber.
You ruined it. You should have left it with Die Hard. Honestly, Greg.
No, I'm just joking.
We'll leave it with Die Hard. Greg, where can people find you?
We have a podcast where we recap the news every week. It comes out on Monday now. It's called Marketing O'Clock. Try to put in some humor, edutainment. I feel like that's like a core here at Cypress North is always just having fun. And I feel like things stick with you longer and you are more apt to take on different things. So we try to have a good time. Also give tangible takeaways while like covering the news. And we also cover some things like things we learned and what was working well and what wasn't on the show. Really proud of the show. It's a ton of work, but it's a great time.
Amazing. And you can find all of Greg's mistakeful LinkedIn posts where he does lots of errors and grammar errors on LinkedIn as well. You should find him there.
Read it.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining PPC Live, the podcast. And yeah, bye for now.
Thanks so much for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, Greg, for sharing that very honest and transparent experience. And it's just so insightful to see how some companies are willing to just get away with treating their employees so badly. Sometimes you hear agencies have such a high turnover and you're like, oh, what's going on? And yeah, it could really be as simple as the employees are being treated badly and they want something better. So yeah, that was such a great insight to have. And remember, it's really important that you treat your employees properly. It's really important that we're open in terms of communicating about issues that have gone wrong. And yeah, everyone makes mistakes. As Greg said there multiple times, everyone makes mistakes. So don't be afraid to speak about it so that you learn a bit from it and do better for the future in terms of processes and how to just do things in generally. For all the information and the full transcript of that fantastic chat, just go to podcast.ppc.live. And yeah, an update about PPC Live as well. Not only do we have the Leeds event happening in June, on June the 26th, I've also released some pre-event details because we've not really quite hunkered down on our location or the speakers for PPC Live 18 that's happening in London. But tickets are live, and because we don't have all the details yet, the tickets are only £10. For only £10, that is close to like, I mean, I don't even think you'll be able to pay for 2 beers with that amount of money in London, but you're going to get 3 speakers for sure. You're going to get amazing networking. And because it's our 3rd anniversary, you're also going to get some amazing red velvet cake, which is my favorite flavor. So yeah, I hope you can, meet us there. Just go to bit.ly/PPC Live JUL 25. Again, that's bit.ly/PPC Live JUL EP32025, and you can get your £10 tickets for this event. Prices are going to go up to all the way up to about £50. So this is the cheapest that you'll get it. And if any of the details changes or the circumstances changes as we get closer to the date, as long as you ask for a refund 2 weeks beforehand, you'll be able to claim a refund for it. Before I leave you, I'd also like to mention that I'm allowing myself to be booked, a few hours of my time to be booked at an hourly rate of about £250 to do some coaching, paid search coaching, just so that you can really get ignited again about your position as a paid search expert, or just your direction, that your career is going, or if you feel like you're the only paid search in your company and you're a brand, or you're looking for advice as an in-house on how to manage an agency. I've got years of experience of that. I've got like close to 20 years of experience in the industry, working at old sites, agencies, brands, and etc. So I'd love to share that expertise with you. If you go to themarketinganu.com, you'll be able to get all the details for that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that show, and I look forward to bringing you more paid search F-ups and triumphs next week. Bye.